What's up, Eurovision people? My name is Sean, and I am joined by my fellow reactors and friends who have been such regulars this year and last year on our live streams, where we discuss all things predictions. But this year, we did a little special thing, and we're going live to discuss the results after last night's finals. You want to start with my left?
Your left is a Pixirian guy or Eston from Estonia.
And
And
my
below
right?
me,
And below is George from Italy.
Hello, George.
Hello.
So, Ukraine has won this year's edition of the Eurovision Song Contest, as we expected, as we predicted. Thoughts? Epic's Eurovision guy.
uh, yeah, I mean, it was expected. I did not expect the televote result to be that huge. I mean, basically, the lowest they got was 7 points from Serbia, and most of them just 12, and I think 20 points less than the perfect score. So, yeah, no doubt about them winning. They didn't even need the jury points to win. So, yeah, landslide. But overall, I really enjoyed yesterday's show, and the songs were really, really good. I had so much trouble picking my favorites or putting my top 25 together that I just quit halfway through because I couldn't decide. Um, and yeah, overall, quite happy with the results and yeah, enjoyed yesterday's show.
Yeah, I'm also happy with the results overall. I had accepted that Ukraine was going to win back in February, so I wasn't really surprised, and I wasn't even mad either because in the end they improved a lot with the performance. Oh, good evening or good afternoon, I should say.
Yeah.
um, they improved a lot with their performance, and the song was solid. It stood out. It combines folk elements with modernity. So, in the end, it's a deserving winner. In no ways it would win had it been a normal year, but at the same time, it's not a weak song that would have done badly otherwise. So this year it went this way. I was less excited than usual because I basically know that Ukraine was going to win. I was expecting around 400, certainly not 439 from the televote. They overdid my prediction in the jury as well. I was expecting around 150. They got 192. But in the end, all I can say is that I hope that next year we get to go to Ukraine and that everything is safe and that the country meets peace and prosperity again.
Thank
Well, the
you,
president
Mother
of Ukraine
Teresa.
said that he is planning to host it. So, if everything goes
And
well, and in Mariupol, which I doubt is going to happen, but we'll see,
well,
and we'll hope for the
In
best.
maybe not in
Mariupol,
Mariupol, but in Odessa, that will be doable in my opinion. Odessa, an amazing city. I was
I
supposed
would love
actually I wanted to go there this year, but
I would love to go Lviv if we're going to Ukraine.
yeah, Lviv. I've
But
been there. It's so beautiful. They should
back to the
host it.
results. I can't say I'm happy with the results just because I accepted weeks before that Ukraine is gonna win. My prediction was that Ukraine is gonna win, but I would have liked nothing more than to be proved wrong. Um, yeah, I can't say that I'm happy just because my prediction went right. I would have loved to see someone else win who was definitely more deserving, who was definitely less. They had less of an advantage with all the sympathy votes and the way we saw the televotes. I think everyone except one country gave Ukraine at least 8 points. This has never happened in Eurovision, and certainly this isn't the best song we've ever had in Eurovision enough to receive this record televote. I don't think it's a deserving win. I don't think it's a win that will be cemented in the history books for all the right reasons. But they won. Gotta give it to them. And yeah, like you said, I do hope it happens in Ukraine because I wouldn't like Eurovision to go down this route where a country wins and another country hosts. A lot of the tradition of Eurovision comes from, okay, we have this country winning and now they host. And I would like to see Eurovision in a safe Ukraine, just like all of us, but that will probably be another conversation for another time during this year. I want to diverge a little bit into the results of the finals, and I want to ask you guys what surprised you the most in the jury vote. I'm going to start with Georgia because I know you have a lot of things to say about the jury vote.
In reality, not so many things surprised me about the jury vote. Spain being so successful surprised me, and I was happy to see that finally juries were able to appreciate an up-tempo female song after semifinals. And what does Colin say?
Yeah, Ukraine entry was near that good to get record televote. Overall, with Eurovision, nothing grand in the grand final. Yeah, I'll take that line. Nothing grand in the grand final. Sorry, continue.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say about Ukraine. In a normal year, I think they would have gotten still top 10. They would have
Yeah,
gotten around 200 from the televote, which is very respectable result. Of course, you have to be objective here and accept the fact that it's a political win. But you can also understand the reasons. For us Eurofans, this is terrible because we're here for the music. But for the normal person, for the average person who voted for Ukrainian solidarity, it's another conversation. And back to the surprising jury votes. What else surprised me? Probably I was expecting Serbia to do a bit better, but I was also predicting the juries to not really understand them, especially after seeing how they voted in the semifinal with all those ballots passing. And surprising stuff. Azerbaijan getting more than 100, but then again, there were investigations to the point 6 countries' juries were completely discarded because there was vote rigging going on, and I think it was really Azerbaijan who rigged the votes because they were in semifinal too. And it was all, if you notice, small countries or countries with a small audience like Romania, while countries like Serbia, Greece, and Spain, where Azerbaijan got 12 points from the juries, clearly also had something fishy going on about their vote, but the EBU didn't want to make the deal too big by exposing these big countries, and one is even in the big 5. So that's another surprise for me in the jury vote. But when you analyze things and all the pieces come together, then it doesn't really surprise you anymore. Azerbaijan really went from rigging the televote to rigging the juries allegedly, and I'm not surprised at all. And I think there will be consequences for them. I foresee a 3-year ban for them, honestly.
I would certainly hope so. I mean, back to what surprised us in the final. I didn't expect Azerbaijan to do so well in the jury. I mean, yeah, of course, there must have been a reason. And I always thought that they qualified purely on the premise of the jury. But they were getting 12 points from the most random countries, Spain, Greece, like you said. I think they got 12 points from Serbia as well.
Yeah,
I
Spain,
just
Greece, and
don't get it.
Serbia.
I just don't get it. And it really doesn't make sense how Azerbaijan got these points. And like you said,
4 jurors
probably
in Spain ranked Azerbaijan first. That's not organic.
burn them to the stake. That's all I would say. My biggest surprise, in a, I don't know if it's in a good way or in a bad way, but France, and definitely in a bad way. France did terribly, and I didn't expect France to do so well with the jury, but with the televote, 8 points, really? I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I did
I
analyze
mean,
a
it
little
was
bit the
very early on in the running order,
yeah,
and there were
yeah.
so many strong songs coming in later. So,
I
with a
think it
better
was
running order
testament to the
spot,
squad.
definitely they would have done a lot better. But
I think
yeah,
so.
jury
Yeah,
was never going to rate it.
yeah. But 9 points is still shameful. I mean, let's not give less credit to the televote less than the jury, but the jury still gave it 9 points. I think
Was expected they were
definitely
going to flop in the jury vote.
I
Not so
think
hard,
definitely
but still.
they didn't do well, mainly because of the running order. Because when I looked at the televotes, Belgium got 5 points, all from one country.
Which country
Azerbaijan the
was that?
same. I forgot, but I think it was just one country. No,
Maybe the
Czech Republic
Netherlands.
got 5
Czech
points.
Republic from
Czech Republic
Macedonia.
got Macedonia, and Belgium got from two countries, Netherlands and
Mhm.
someone else. But
Mhm.
the same, Australia got points from one country. Azerbaijan got points from one country. France got 8 points from six different countries. So to me, that shows that they were on the cusp of getting into that top 10 of the televote of a lot of countries, but purely because they were forgotten due to a running order, a bad
Mhm.
running order, they just didn't get it. And I think I don't like to use running order to make excuses or anything, but this one I think is a real victim of the running order. And I'm really sad, and I hope the French delegation and the French team and the French fans do not lose hope in sending something creative and authentic, because this, in another year, this would be in the top 5. But this year, it's not the right year.
They were unlucky to draw first half.
Very unlucky. Very, very unlucky. Eston, any standouts from you?
I mean, overall, no huge surprises in the jury vote, other than Spain, as you mentioned, didn't expect it to do so well. Serbia didn't expect it to get more than 100, definitely, from the jury. No surprise there, isn't really a jury song. Australia, Azerbaijan did a decent job. I mean, already in the semi-finals, well, not Australia, but Azerbaijan and Switzerland as well qualified because the jury. And I mean, yeah, UK and Sweden fighting for the jury win expected. So nothing really stands out that much. I think in the public vote there were more shockers.
Yeah.
I slightly disagree. I think in the public vote, except from France, I wasn't really surprised by anything. And to me, the highlight of the night, this year we had so many, at least from my end, there were so many results which I couldn't get behind. But when Switzerland, Australia, Azerbaijan, and Belgium collectively together got 10 points, that was the highlight of the night for me.
Yeah.
These countries
Made me
getting
smile.
such low scores, it made me laugh. I had an evil laugh going on. I was watching Eurovision with like 20 people, and half of them were Italians, and
Where
yeah,
what?
half of them were Italians,
Whoa.
and people laughed out loud and clapped when Switzerland got 0 points, because that song, I'm sorry, it just didn't deserve to make the final, full stop. And when you see its televote score in the semi-final,
It's
I don't know.
11 though. It's more than zero at least. Hadn't Georgia had an Azerbaijani diaspora living there, voting for Azerbaijan, they would have gotten zero as well.
It's weird that Azerbaijan. I mean, this is a record, by the way. A country qualified to the grand
Mhm.
final without getting a single public vote. This
And I
is
thought that
strange.
Denmark
That's crazy.
2017 was bad. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that the semifinals should be 100% televote, just to give the public what they want for the final, just like in 2009. And then the final can be 50-50. And I think there should be really tough checks on the juries. Like, there's no way there's going to be no consequences for the jury vote after 6 countries were penalized for rigging the vote, and others were clearly rigging the vote as well, but they closed 2 eyes on it. And also, I noticed that
I mean,
Albania in the semifinal has a really weird jury vote. Or Greece. They
Greece.
gave
Yeah,
12 to Albania, the only points going to Albania from the jury, and 10 to Bulgaria and 8 to Croatia. I think that they've submitted their ranking upside down. So the jury this year, they really need to reconsider their place in the results.
I mean, in 2019 we had similar problems with the jury as well, if I remember correctly. I don't know about last year, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, two juries, no,
not
two
They
jurors,
they need
two
to.
jurors submitted upside down, and then Belarus was
Yeah.
excluded because they shared their votes before the final, not because of rigging or whatever.
Yeah, so something fishy is always going on. They definitely need to rethink how the jury is put together. But I mean, I just read an article that the Estonian jury has gotten a lot of hate because they gave 0 points to Ukraine, and basically they're like getting these messages that you support Russia or this is rigged, and
No, they
this is
voted objectively.
unacceptable. The only
They
Baltic
voted
country that didn't
objectively.
give points to Ukraine. I mean,
The only Baltic country that voted
Eurovision is
objectively.
apolitical. They voted
Mhm.
apolitically for the best songs. What is the problem there?
They voted according to
Yeah,
the Estonian taste, let's say.
exactly. And I mean, no
Oh.
surprises there, really.
Speaking of surprises in the jury vote, have you noticed that that Romania and Moldova gave each other 0 points in the jury?
But Romania's jury was suspended, right?
Oh, you're right. Romania's jury was
Romania's
suspended.
jury was
Yeah,
suspended.
but Moldova gave 0 to Romania, which is weird. And Cyprus gave 12 to Greece. That was expected.
Wow, that was
And
the only
Albania
shocker.
12 to Italy. That was also expected. But these are patterns that will never die. And I was disappointed in Finland and Iceland giving 12 to Sweden. They do that every year, basically.
Yeah.
And
You
nobody
know,
talks
Yeah, but
about that.
overall,
But
Sweden was really, a jury-friendly song. So
it was,
Yeah.
but the irony is that the Nordics are the ones that have that were the most to complain about political voting, neighborly voting when they weren't qualifying, and they are the ones that are probably they're the only ones who keep voting for each other, because as you said, Romania, Moldova didn't exchange. I was surprised to see Ukraine giving no points to Poland and Lithuania.
Mhm.
The Balkans gave 12 points to Serbia, but I don't think that was political. I mean, if it was political, Croatia wouldn't have given points to Serbia, and they gave them 12 points. It was purely
that was a
if we're
number
talking-
one hit in Croatia, though.
exactly
For 3
that was
weeks.
a universal message. So to me, the Nordics are the only ones that keep cementing this loyalty to Sweden, and it's not because it was even if it didn't do well. Even last year, they gave so many points to Sweden when Sweden came 17th in the jury. Maybe not 12, but I find it a very, very heavy double standard with the Nordics giving all their points to Sweden.
But I mean, the biggest shock for me, actually, now thinking about it, was seeing Serbia give 10 jury points to Estonia. That has probably never happened, and I was shocked. And
It was a
even
very
the public
different
vote from Serbia gave like all points to Estonia. Estonia, of course, didn't vote for Serbia. I think neither of them.
Gave 0. One of the few
But
countries.
we never exchanged points, but we suddenly get 14 from Serbia. That was unexpected.
That was objective. Right. They voted objectively for the song.
Yeah.
And I
don't
told
think
you,
Estonia has
Eston,
no.
I told you that Estonia will get around 100, and they did in the televote. You see?
98. Yeah, close enough.
And I told you about Greece. They're getting 50, and 57 they got.
To be
But they
honest,
managed
the
to
thing
win
about
the
But,
Albanian
but
televote.
Italy got a lot less than you predicted.
Yeah, no, well, when I saw the
That was
performance, I was
pretty
like,
clear
yeah,
after the show, yeah.
this is not getting as much as I thought.
The one that I was impressed about the most that you nailed was yesterday. You said Moldova's coming second in the televote,
Yeah.
and we were like, no. And I gotta give it to you. I don't know how that happened, but Moldova came second in the televote. I don't get it. I probably never will. It's a fun song, yes, but second in the televote.
Italians were crazy about it. We loved it.
I mean,
And I predicted
239 fucking points to Moldova.
And I predicted our televoting top 3 correctly. 8 to Romania, 10 to Moldova, 12 to Ukraine. I know my chickens, as we say here.
12 to who?
12 to Ukraine from
And
Italy. 10 to Moldova, and 8 to
And 8 to
Romania. And I'm happy that Serbia got 7, which was the highest for a country that a big diaspora here. I voted for Serbia 10 times, 5 times from SMS, 5 times from calling. Really loved Serbia, and I'm really happy to see it doing so well in the top 5.
Croatians celebrated Constructa getting into final maybe more than Serbians. Serbs like spaghetti western music. Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Moldova profits from ballot final. Yeah, they did. They did. They did. In a big amount of sad ballads, people wanted happy songs. Yeah, we
Mhm.
always say that, but we thought that would be the case, not just in the final, even in the semi-finals. And right from the word go in the semi-final, the first semi-final, Latvia and Albania got kicked out in favor of ballads like Switzerland and Iceland. So, as much as one would think that, when you see some results from the word go, you would think, hang on a minute, what's going on here? The same thing happened in semi-final too, all four sad boy songs qualified. And a big energetic number like San Marino didn't. So sometimes, the most obvious things are questioned. And it's unfortunate, yes, but when we've had two semifinals where the most obvious things are questioned, to me, not even a second place televote from Moldova was guaranteed, because I, I couldn't understand how people voted so much for the ballot. Well, not people now, it turns out it was juries, but you know what I mean. I want to touch up a little bit on Italy because, Giorgio, you mentioned it a little bit. I am surprised that I'm not surprised by the jury vote for Italy. I think that was what we expected. They came like fourth, fifth. Where did they land in the jury?
No, seventh.
Seventh. Wow.
Sixth
Yeah,
or seventh. Yeah, seventh.
seventh in the jury, eighth in the televote, and sixth overall.
Yeah.
Seventh in the jury, I expected, but eighth in the televote for me was actually quite low, given the hype around Brividi and all of the, it went viral on Spotify and everything. I did expect a bigger score, but I will say the performance to me did not have the same impact as the
Yeah,
one in the
it was
Sanremo
not a
final.
very good performance. Vocally, Blanco was off and didn't benefit from the running order at all. And speaking of the running order, I really don't like how the producers knew from the semifinal that Ukraine will sweep the televote and still put them 12th, penalizing poor Stien. They should have put Ukraine as the opener so that everybody else could stand out. They would have won from any position anyway. But it was the perfect opener, in my opinion, even more so than the Czech Republic, which could have gone after Italy.
I
So
agree. I agree. I think
the running order.
they should have taken this as an advantage to say, let's switch up the statistics. Let's have one year where song
Yeah.
2 wins, and it could be Ukraine. And it would actually make it even more like, if they wanted Ukraine to win big, they would have one even bigger from a running order slot that is not very unconventional. But obviously, safety comes first in the EBU, and they didn't want to take that risk. And yeah, about Italy, I think the performance wasn't the best. I do think there is host country fatigue, that Italy won, why will we vote for them again? And I'm also a little bit annoyed, and I hate to say it, because Italy was my favorite song of the year. I'm really put off by Blanco's attitude, I'm not gonna lie. I see a lot of arrogance there. They literally came just for the final. It's like we have to feel privileged that they even came. And like the way he walked in like a cockroach. I don't know, man. I don't know. It came across as arrogant, and as one of the biggest fans of this song, even I could understand that arrogance was not well received. And it's a shame, because the song is beautiful, the message is incredible, and it could have been so much bigger and so much better. I still think that this did have the potential to win Eurovision and do a double for Italy, but I think the attitude was just all wrong, and they didn't even make the top 5, which is a crime. But
I mean, in the end, it didn't just work on the stage, and Blanco was being all weird and did those strange moves, and it didn't fit the atmosphere of the song. He was being all like crazy, and while the song is beautiful and quiet and romantic, and the lyrics are great, so they, I think, completely messed it up.
And
vocally, really, really off.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the televote scores that we got, and they were very predictable. We got, of course, 10 points from Malta was the most that we got. We got high points from Albania. We got high points from Croatia, from Slovenia, from Switzerland. from Greece, which are countries that really support Mahmoud in general, and there are countries where Brahimi was already charting. So, but it's too bad that we didn't make any impact on our countries. But
I
in the
agree.
end, the performance was really botched. The improvisation thing that Italian always go for
Didn't work.
didn't work this time.
Didn't work at all. I want to talk about the biggest winner, perhaps, of last night, more than Ukraine would ever think they won. The biggest winner for me is the United Kingdom. It was so nice to see the UK getting all those sets of 12 points finally after so many years of terrible results. The UK came second. Eston, I know you were a big fan of this song and its performance. Did it feel great to see the UK getting all of those points?
Absolutely. I mean, I thought that I wouldn't vote, but seeing the show, yeah, I gave a vote to the UK. I think it was
How
my
many
favorite
times?
performance of the night. One. I mean, look how expensive it is. I'm not gonna waste my money on a second place entry, uh, but yeah, I just felt I had to do it because he was great. The performance was fantastic, vocally amazing, and yeah, he deserved all the points that he got. I mean, first in the jury, fifth in the televote. Overall, I mean, in a normal year, without the war going on, he would have won. I'm pretty certain of it. I don't see the points for Ukraine going to any unexpected places. So definitely really happy that it is so well and a deserved great result. And I hope that they will continue on this path.
Well, about winning, I'm not sure because second, third, and fourth were really close. So without a situation like this, you never know how people who otherwise voted for Ukraine would have voted, and the difference is small. But of course, was a very deserving second place. Sam has such a great charisma, great attitude toward the contest, great hair. He has everything it takes to come on the podium, and the UK really nailed it this year. They really did. And I hope that they continue on this path and that Sam gives British people, first of all, proves that Europe doesn't hate Britain because fifth place in televote for the UK. They did it already 11 years ago. They did it again. It means that we love the act that they sent and we have nothing against the country, first. And second, the jury love was completely justified by an entertaining performance, well staged, a bit static, but it's not a problem because his charisma sold it off completely, and the song was really catchy as well. So great job for the UK. I'm really happy for them.
And they cemented the record for the most second places, and no one will probably catch them in a long time.
Audience can see and understand anything, even they can't analyze like experts. I think the audience can analyze better than these experts because if as this it has been proven, these experts are experts in corruption, then we need to reevaluate, like we just discussed about the juries. Um, one one standout for me, and I expected it, but I was so happy it arrived, was Romania's High Televote. They came 13th, and this is a
Mhm.
song that when we had our predictions video, none of us thought would qualify.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Yamame. I know it's not everyone's favorite song, but Urs's energy really stood out. He's an excellent camera boy. The song, like it or lump it, I actually quite like it, but it just fits in a show like this. And I'm not in favor of it being in the number two spot because the EBU is you giving the number two spot in the final to countries that are vulnerable in the jury vote, as we can see,
Mhm.
and it's not fair. It's really not fair because Romania hasn't made the final in a, a very long time, and once they make the final, you just throw them away on the number two spot. It's so disgusting. It's a really terrible attitude. But I'm glad they pulled through. They didn't end up in the bottom five, and I'm really really happy for them, even though the juries didn't care for it that much.
But at the same time, I mean, Czech Republic got a terrible result in the end, and of course they were always gonna start the show, but it's unfortunate because I think if they were in the second half and later on, they would have gotten a lot more points and a great result. So, they have to put some kind of running order together, and it's always going to hurt someone. So, one year it's Romania or Czech Republic, another year it's someone else. So, what can you
But
do?
my argument is, why always give these unconventional spots to countries that are vulnerable? I mean, Switzerland was the shoe-in for number 2. If that song would have represented Montenegro, that would have been number 2 for sure.
They wouldn't have qualified.
In the semifinal, it would have been number 2.
Mhm.
But Switzerland gets a conventional spot in the running order. Who else? I don't know. The Netherlands, as much as we like it, it's a ballad that could have fit at number 2. But of course, it's the Netherlands, so we put it at number 11. These maneuvers, I don't know. I really don't appreciate them. And Czech Republic and Romania were both very high energy songs, and one could argue why put them after each other. And perhaps Czech Republic, looking at it now, they didn't benefit from preceding Romania because they only got 5 televotes, and they came third in the televote in the semifinal. So clearly, a lot of love was lost due to the running order. Again, I don't
Sean,
like
we,
to make it.
we've already seen this before. In 2017, Israel
Yeah.
closed the second semifinal, third in the televote. Then they opened the final and they got 5 televote points. Same exact thing.
Case in point, the running order really does tend to make a difference, especially in these
Yeah.
really early spots.
And this year, I think they should have just left it to fate as they used to do until 2012. Just, pick the number and that's your number, because the running order probably would have been better than what we got, because all the ballads were in the second half. First half was very energetic, but
Honestly, yeah. I remember we had this conversation, I think on the very first live stream we had last year, producer-led running order or fate. And I always thought a producer-led running order is always going to inch out. But if we're getting these terrible running orders, let's just have them free from any,
I'm all for
intervention.
fate, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't like
Because it can't be
the
good.
production favoring some contestants over others. Just leave it to fate.
Yeah.
It's fair for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. One song that I want to talk about that we haven't mentioned at all, and I feel really bad that Germany came last because I really don't think they deserved it. But we all liked the song here. Eston, I know this was, again, an entry that is very dear to your heart. What do you make of Germany coming last?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of expected. They don't have, these really friendly countries that always vote for them. They don't have certain points. So with a good but not maybe outstanding song, it was never going to do well. And I think, yeah, I expected last place. Happy that at least the televote gave them some points. They didn't finish with 0. So yeah, I mean,
I was really happy when they said 6 points, and
Yeah,
they came
me too.
20th
yeah,
in the televote.
exactly.
They escaped the
did
bottom
not
5 with the televote,
Exactly.
as I had
Which is
predicted.
what it should have been. Yeah, I'm really happy for Germany on the televote, but it's a crime that the jury didn't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand that 0 points from the jury.
Why give Azerbaijan 100 points? Why give Australia 700 points? Why give
700.
Why give Switzerland enough points to make it? I don't know. And then
Yes,
give
Switzerland
Germany
got
0.
17 just with the juries.
I don't get it. Germany should have collected all of those countries. Belgium, Australia, Switzerland. They should have all went to Germany for me, and I would have been happy.
Speaking of Australia, they did qualify with the televote from the semifinal. This doesn't surprise me because I saw very positive reception from the public on Thursday. But who did they even get points from in the televote? They got only 2 points for them.
Azerbaijan, weirdly.
Azerbaijan, yeah, but
Yeah.
Azerbaijan is a small televoting pool. Probably it was 100 people voting for Australia, and they just got away with it. They were lucky, but
Yeah.
better than 0. I was expecting something around 30 points at least from the televote because they were late in the running order. The performance did leave an impact. The song did have a meaning. To me, it was just a vocal show-off. But poor guy, was really
For
humiliating to
me,
hear the bang sound like your dreams have been crushed when they revealed the two televoting points to Sheldon. Like, even though
I don't
it
think
was my
that
second
the
to last,
song
I
was
felt bad for
terrible.
him.
The
Huh?
song was
I mean, the
terrible.
televoters preferred maybe Sweden that was before it, or
Oh yeah, of
what was
course.
after Serbia,
Yeah,
or
and I
No,
can.
UK. It was sandwiched
UK.
between
Yeah, I mean,
Sweden and the UK.
yeah. So it's understandable. 2 points, shockingly low, but at the same time, not too shocking.
Yeah, not too shocking at all for me. The song was not even a vocal show off for me. I mean, yeah, you can't criticize his vocals, but to me, it was a fashion show off, and I really don't like how emotionally manipulative it is. Literally, that guy is a great actor. He always manages to pull those faces, even during rehearsals. It's always like, I'm not the same. It's always like that. Is it possible to have those emotions all the goddamn time? It's
He's
not possible to
acting.
me. It's an
Yeah,
act.
he's
He's an
acting.
actor,
They're
and it's
all
emotionally
acting. It's a
I
manipulative.
mean,
stage. It's
can
a
we
It's
talk
rehearsed
about
emotionally
show.
manipulative,
Nadir's
and I'm
fake
really,
cry?
really glad. Yeah, I'm really, really glad it only got 2 points because, to me, those were 2 points more than what they deserved. I want to shift a little bit into semifinal one, the split
Hmm.
results. And something that stood out for me was Portugal's consistency. They came fourth and sixth.
Hmm.
I can't remember. I think fourth in the jury and sixth in the televote.
I
And
see.
I'm happy for them because, Portugal doesn't always get the most conventional results at Eurovision, but they had a decent song, a decent performance. They made the top 10 in the final, and it was consensus.
Sean,
Sergio.
this
And they were
is
those sixth and fourth. So sixth in the
mm,
televote, fourth
Yeah.
in the jury vote. But I
with
mean, what's most surprising maybe in the first semi is that I mean we all thought that okay, Latvia and Albania were massively underrated by the juries, but in the end, neither of them got a lot of televote success either. I think Albania was 10th in the televote
Nine.
and not a lot of points ahead of Iceland. And Latvia actually got like 3 times the points in the jury vote
mhm.
over the televote. So, I mean, yeah, and Croatia coming 11th, did not expect that.
and 12th in the
So,
televote, Croatia as well.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
shocking. But
I think Croatia was like a safe pick because, in semifinal one, we had a lot of, Latvia, Albania, Ukraine, all of this. Croatia was just that thing that people just sat down and were like, okay, I can
it was
relax
the
and
only
take
ballot
most
that didn't
likely safe
qualify.
pick. Yeah, yeah, but still, it was a safe pick for some. I mean, something has to, we have to put money on the fact that it came 12th in the televote, and perhaps the reason of it was its safety. It was a good vocal. There were a lot of bad vocals this year, and Croatia wasn't one of them. So maybe that safety, that relaxed factor contributed. I mean, it came 12th in the televote. It didn't come first,
Yeah.
but more than what we expected. Of course, we want to talk about Albania, and this is exactly the kind of result I expected after seeing that they didn't qualify. Not an incredibly in- perfect televote score; they came ninth, but a terrible jury score and
12
big
points all
vote,
from Greece, which
and
voted
that's
upside
that's
down,
also
probably.
suspicious. So yeah, I think again shameful jury voting, but
No. Understandable jury voting. The performance
for
was
yeah,
sure.
horrible.
absolutely.
No, but it still didn't deserve zero from everyone. Let's still think that there is a song being played on the playback. And even if the performance was horrible, it still didn't receive zero from everyone.
The
Yes, it
song
received
wasn't very
less.
good either.
The song
I
was
mean,
great.
yeah,
And it
maybe it
deserved more views in the
deserves more
semifinal.
points from the jury than Moldova or Denmark or I don't know, Latvia maybe. But it was, yeah, with that performance and the vocals and everything going on, it was probably never gonna qualify from the jury. But really, what's surprising is the televote and only 46 points, ninth place in the televote. But
And you
no,
also have to
not what they
consider
were
that
coming for.
Italy and Greece were voting in the same semifinal. half of the points came from these two televotes, which are predictable given the amount of diaspora in these countries. And also Switzerland. How much did they get from Switzerland? There's a huge Albanian diaspora there. 8, I think. You see, it didn't deserve to qualify because even their televote points are all from diaspora. So
again, I don't want to make excuses. I mean, I certainly think the performance was not what it needed to be. And, watching that performance from Festivali Këngës and watching what we had now, there's a massive difference. It was almost ridiculous. The choreography didn't need to be so sexual. Ronella, unfortunately, as much as I love her, she lost focus from the vocals and her vocals suffered. And these are all of these things that contributed. But we're still talking 10 spots in the semi-final. And I still think Albania was largely deserving one of those 10 spots. I think, again, I never spoke of running order as much of this year, I think. The running order really didn't help Ronella. Not because it opened, but it's such an aggressive thing to open not only a semi-final, but Eurovision with such an overly sexualized performance. And you could say, of course, this is the fault of them for over-sexualizing their performance. But even if the EBU knew what was on offer, you should never open your show like that. It's so off-putting to so many conservative viewers. And let's face it, there are many conservative viewers. I mean, it's
but the
there.
conservative viewers were not going to give this any points nonetheless. So, I mean...
But how worse is it when you open with such an overly sexualized choreography? And then from Albania, we go to Latvia, who eats salad, veggies, and pussy. I mean, this running order, again, it was
a bad running order.
But yeah, like George mentioned, I mean, it got 24 points from Greece, 8 from Italy, 8 from Switzerland, 6 from Slovenia, and basically some points here and there from the others. So, I mean, take away the 24, or I don't know, split them by 2, and get like a normal, not a neighborly voting or friendly voting score. It got a terrible, terrible score.
Yeah, terrible. Like, I would have expected Albania, with its original performance from Festivali Këngës, with the original song, to qualify comfortably, but she took out everything that people liked from her song or performance, and she got everything wrong. I have no idea why she wanted to do this. She probably wanted to overdo it, and she had a concept in mind that didn't materialize.
Yeah, overdone is the key word here. I mean, I also think if the performance from Festivali Këngës, first of all, that performance would not have been set up to open the semi-final, or else the EBU have completely lost their mind, which is actually not a far possibility, but hang on. And I genuinely think it was like when I saw her winning and when I saw that performance, I got Wild Dances vibes. That performance to me put me back to the era of Wild Dances, where there was such a theme on stage, and you could just watch them.
It was the ethno time.
Yeah, and it was overdone. It was over sexualized. It was over conceptualized. We didn't need this whole, female on female too much, unfortunately. Again, I still think that it should have qualified, but that's on me. Another one that stood out for me is Latvia coming 15th in the televote.
Yeah, when we that's thought a shocker. The televote would save this. That's shocking. I mean,
this is your favorite song, isn't it?
I mean, the second spot in the running order. I don't know. Or, I mean, all the votes for that genre are just as positive and fun went to Moldova in the end. I mean, going into the contest, we thought that Moldova would qualify over Latvia, I thought that. Maybe you didn't, but we changed our opinion based on the staging and everything that was improved with Latvia and not so well done with Moldova. But in the end, Moldova came later on, still stole all the points. So who knows?
My mom wanted to.
And as we saw from the final as well, I mean, they did extremely well with the televote.
Yeah, I can understand exactly this comment. I mean, yeah, it's off-putting. It's off-putting to have such over-sexualized,
aggressive songs.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Latvia came so low in the televote. If anything, I would have expected the result to be flipped. I'm not surprised they came 11th in the jury, because I do, and I've always said that song has musical merits, but I don't know. Maybe the whole vegan thing actually was seen as a joke, and
No.
most Eurovision fans don't like to eat pussy anyway. So, I don't know.
But a lot of locals watch it, the Eurovision as well. But the
Yeah.
problem here, Sean, is that as soon as right, they got overshadowed by
They did.
Moldova.
They did.
One, two. They needed full LEDs for their performance. The sun really ruined their performance a lot, in my opinion. The Black Sun. But it's shocking how badly they did, because they got 10 points from Lithuania from the televote, 5 from Ukraine, and 1 from the Netherlands. So basically got zero love from countries that wouldn't normally vote for them. And that's really shocking. I don't know what else to say. It's shocking.
We will never know. I mean, how Latvia would have done if maybe they would have.
But this semi's televote is shocking in general. Like, look at the ranking. Norway did a lot worse than I would have expected. They got 4th, only 1 point below. Only 1 point below Armenia and only 1 point above Lithuania. Norway had an amazing run in order position with all those ballots. They got 1 point more than Lithuania, which was considered to be a very borderline qualifier, if not a non-qualifier at all.
Absolutely.
Lithuania got points from every country. Norway
allow
didn't.
me to boost my ego here. I always thought that Norway wouldn't do that great with the televote, and then they wouldn't do so badly with the juries. In the final, the gap was a little bit widened. I agree, but to me, Norway was never. I mean, there are people who see this as lame, and I was one of them.
Really?
I did.
My mom voted for them.
I did send you a text in the group chat last night, and I said I finally had fun with this, and I did. But there are still people who say that this is lame. All of Malta was commenting, what the fuck? Malta doesn't qualify and the banana does, like all of this. Like,
Malta has a different taste, though.
Yeah, but Malta gave 12 points to Serbia, so I don't know. In the semi,
Oh,
Malta gave
the second semi-final.
Yeah. I never thought it would do that badly with the juries. It's inoffensive. I mean, it's allegedly about vaccination and all of this crap. It's very inoffensive, and it goes with propaganda. So I don't think the juries would have penalized this far. And yeah, Lithuania, we agreed on the live stream that it would qualify, and I'm so happy it did so well, because it was a classy televote magnet. It got like 93 points from the televote in the final, right? And it came 5th in the semi.
91 or 93,
in the jury. Great. Someone asks us, do you think some countries will now withdraw from ESC 2023 or for longer? Montenegro, Czechia, Macedonia. Do we think?
Czechia, I don't think so.
Czech Republic, no.
I don't see.
And I don't think Macedonia.
Maybe.
Yeah, Montenegro probably. I don't think Macedonia is going to. I don't think Macedonia is going to withdraw, because they said they would, but just to calm people down because they were offended by the flag incident. But ultimately, I think they will get to participate anyway. I don't think, maybe Azerbaijan will be disqualified for 3 years if there's enough outrage among the EBU. But I don't see anybody joining or coming back, honestly. And Monaco was supposed to debut, but then the debut of their broadcaster was delayed, so they can only debut in 2024. Maybe in 2024 we will see Turkey back if Erdogan loses the election.
Andorra, perhaps in the future,
I would love
sometime.
to see Andorra.
Who?
I would love to see Andorra coming back.
Andorra. Yeah, right. Andorra might come back. And Liechtenstein, their TV director who wanted to join Eurovision died, so the plan to join died with
Hungary,
him.
definitely not.
No, Hungary, not for the next 5 years. Kosovo, no, because it's not a recognized country from everyone.
Kosovo's the one that should be there the most, in my opinion. But yeah,
Sean, as long as it's not recognized by everyone, it shouldn't be there.
Be outraged.
Exactly.
who in the Balkans? Only Serbia, because Bosnia doesn't compete,
Yeah.
and Croatia, Slovenia, Albania, they
Speaking
all
of
compete.
Bosnia,
So
well,
I don't
Bosnia is
see it
not
either. I
Bosnia
don't
is
see
not
it either.
coming back. I mean,
No.
they're I don't even think they will still exist as a country in 10 years or so. Like they're kept together by Western forces, and otherwise they will break up easily.
The only realistic one I can see coming back is Andorra, but still it's a long shot.
Mhm.
And I actually don't think Montenegro will leave. I think even though this result wasn't good, I think for the first time in so many years, they had a performance that they can look back on and say, this is a standard, you know, good Eurovision performance. Even though it didn't do
Montenegro.
well. Yeah, it was decent.
Oh, it was
It was
terrible.
decent.
3 minutes
Listen,
of her
compare
making
It
stank
wasn't
faces with a cuppa
terrible,
on her
no,
but
it
back.
wasn't terrible. Listen,
yeah, but I mean, it was a
It was
Balkan
compare it
battle.
to
boring.
Montenegro's
It was
compare it
boring.
to Montenegro's previous efforts. D-Mol, Heaven, Spain,
Falling,
Palese.
I'm in heaven,
Yeah.
falling.
What was the one
Yeah,
in
those were
2018?
ridiculous.
Like those
No,
were
they
ridiculous. This was really
2018 they
good.
sent a standard Balkan ballad in. They didn't do well, but
This was
no.
this was by Montenegrin standards, this was really good. And I hope that the broadcaster will not lose hope, because I would have to see Montenegro in the final if they do well next year. Moving on to semi-final two, for me the biggest thing I'm happy about is Serbia winning the televote. I don't know, they tied with
They're
Sweden, but I
tied.
want to
Yeah.
say I
With
want to say they
Sweden,
won the
yeah.
televote. I want to say they won the televote just so I can be proved right. And I'm so glad they did, because so many people were nervous that people wouldn't understand the concept behind Serbia, people wouldn't get the whole meaning, and I'm so glad they did, because she went in running order number 3 as opposed to Sweden going in at number 17. I think if we reverse them, we would have a very clear televote winner.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad for Constructa. This is actually my takeaway, probably only my takeaway, the only takeaway from this year's Eurovision. She's in the top 5. She did incredibly well. The juries, they didn't give her that many points, but with the Balkan 12 points, she actually managed to climb at 11th place.
But
Of course,
Sean,
she deserved more, but I'm so glad she made the top 5. Yes.
Almost one-fourth of the juries from semifinal two are in fact artificial because those are the points from the average of other countries, and that's why you see almost everybody giving 12 to Sweden and 10 to Australia because
No, I
those
meant
are
I meant
artificial
apart
points.
from the countries that gave 12 to Serbia,
Oh yeah.
Croatia, Macedonia. Apart from those, probably she wouldn't have done very well. But still,
Mhm.
she managed to get 11. And yeah,
Yeah.
about the artificial jury scores. Yeah, but that's what we have to judge.
Yeah, we can't say much
So
about the juries for semifinal two because
yeah,
the jury vote is tainted there. So
yeah, it's artificial. It's like a robot vote. But I'm really glad that Serbia
no,
did
it's
so well
just
in the end.
17 countries deciding instead of 23, but 23 getting to vote.
Yeah,
How much was it? 21? Yeah, 21. So
21. Yeah.
yeah, it's one every 3.5 basically.
We already talked
So
about Azerbaijan qualifying with 0 points, which is, again, I would say shameful. But to me, one of the biggest disappointments. I saw it coming, but to actually see it confirmed in front of my eyes was another sad experience. Cyprus came last in the jury vote, and they qualified with the televote. Thoughts?
it was a flavorful song. So I can see why the televote went for them mildly. The vocal performance was not the best, and it was not a ballad, so the juries focused more on ballads in this semifinal, as we all saw. Oh, it's too bad because it was such a good song and would have encouraged Cyprus to diversify their output, but the juries had another thing in mind, and definitely the fact that 6 juries weren't available didn't help her.
And I mean, in the end, only ninth place in the televoting. And I mean, I wouldn't even say only because I thought that this would safely not qualify, not with the jury, not with the televoting. After seeing the performance, I mean, I would have expected even Ireland to get more televoting points than Cyprus. and San Marino definitely is the one that I expected to do a lot better with the televoting. I mean, the jury, 13th place, 21, yeah, expected, but 12th in the televoting, 29 points. That is shocking. And
Yeah.
Ireland doing so badly in the televoting as well.
No,
I
Ireland is
11th in the
understand
televote.
that.
Ireland
I-
came 11th in the televote.
11th
No?
in the televote. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, but I would have expected them to do better than Belgium, for example, and Cyprus, maybe even Australia.
I
The thing with
disagree.
Ireland is that their performance looked very amateurish. As much as I love our Brook, the performance didn't look very professional, you know. And the
I mean,
song,
but coming after the very disappointing Cyprus, that stood out, and it was a lot
I
better.
disagree. I think both performances, even though one was vocally much better than the other, because we're Eurovision fans and we wait so long for these performances, I think we just, at the end of it, we just look at the performances. The songs are not in the same league at all. Cyprus is a flavorful, summery ethnic bop, whereas Ireland was the song that, just based off the studio version, a lot of people were thinking it could come last in the semi-final. And again, I was watching Eurovision with around 15 to 20 people, and all of them were talking during Ireland's performance because the song didn't catch their ears at all. And I'm actually surprised they came so high in the televote. I would have expected them to do well in the jury because, maybe it's Ireland, they're giving something fresh. Let's scoop them up a bit. But, it went the opposite. I'm glad they didn't do so bad. I really liked Brooke as a personality, but still, there was very, very, very little one could do to save that song from doom. I think they did all that they could, but I never saw Ireland as a quarterfinal.
But San Marino doing so badly
Yeah,
with the
San
televoting.
Marino was a shocker for me in the televote. I did expect San Marino to qualify with the televote, but again, with San Marino, I think it's only San Marino and Malta. There's always that, it's not that neighborly voting exists. It's that tiny countries are always at a disadvantage. And I genuinely do think.
Can you explain how Belgium gave 12 jury points to San Marino?
they felt like it.
horny gay men? I don't know.
And 5 jury points from Finland.
Finland, I understand. Maybe because it's the rock thing. And it's only 5 points. But 12 from the Belgian jury, yeah, I was surprised.
That is shocking.
But
Speaking of San Marino,
I always think that the smallness of Malta and San Marino, and right now we're talking about San Marino, never helps. So it's always an uphill battle.
Yeah.
And, we talked about Albania and Latvia getting lower than expected televotes because the performance was so highly sexualized. And I think San Marino suffered the same problem. The performance was so sexualized that inevitably there were people who were put off, and it just didn't.
but you can't downvote, a performance. You can only vote for it. And I think the problem with San Marino was that it was so try hard. He tried doing too much on stage as well. That's Achilles' brand, of course, because in substance, Achille doesn't really offer anything interesting. His music is usually pretty bland, and he relies entirely on his image, and this was no different. And I thought that the rest of Europe would appreciate it for once, but first of all, he got so many comparisons to Måneskin, which I personally don't see, but he really tried to be a rock star while not being one. That's the problem. He is mismatched from the image that he tried to sell this time. And that's why I understand the low televoting score. And hopefully it humbles him down a little bit because he has such a huge ego.
Poor Achille.
Another thing from the semi too that is surprising to me is North Macedonia coming 11th, while we thought it was going to be the last or near the bottom, and actually qualifying with the jury and by a pretty big margin over Israel, which was 11th.
Talk about it. I'm coming back to this mid-charger.
Yeah, Macedonia. I mean, I understand the jury votes because she sang very well. I also understand the lack of televote support because it's not
Well, that
something
was
that stands
expected, but
out. Mhm.
yeah,
But props to them. Yeah, I think Macedonia did much more than they could ever have hoped for.
yeah,
Where's
and I
Sean? Oh
mean,
well,
yeah,
because I wanted
Georgia
to
was the
talk.
last.
Oh yeah, I felt
I
sorry
kind
about
of
that.
expected, but yeah, I mean, with all the hype that was at some point going on and huge love for it, I thought it would find its niche
Mhm.
and get more than 9 points from the televoting.
Yeah,
Um,
that was shocking in my opinion. I
and Malta
expected.
in the end was very far from qualifying.
Yeah, that's a disaster I want to talk about when Sean is here. But about Georgia, you're right. Like I expected more people. I think it was a well performed entry. It was interesting. It was eye catching, and I don't understand why they did so badly. They probably got lost in the mix, or the
I
song
mean,
was
yeah,
not strong
I don't
enough.
think it was a good song to start with, but
They did
yeah,
what they
I
could.
mean, jury giving it more points than televoting is a surprise, although the gap is only 4 points. But I mean, yeah,
Who?
and now that Sean is back, we can
Georgia.
talk about Malta.
No. Yeah, let's talk about Malta.
Okay,
I
first
was
of all,
surprised.
no, I need to go to the bathroom. So
Oh,
talk about
now
something
you are
else.
leaving.
Talk about
Okay.
something else because
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
participate in Malta. Okay, what?
Yeah.
Just a second.
What
You
did we
guys
say
can
about
talk about
Georgia?
Belgium and make theories about how we qualified with the televote while doing nothing on stage. I'll be right back.
Yeah. About Georgia, because I wasn't here. I'm absolutely not surprised it came last. I the performance to me again was just a non-event, you know, coming before Azerbaijan, which actually after Azerbaijan, which actually got more Georgia got more points than them in the televote, but coming before Malta, you know, these two countries didn't necessarily do well, but it makes you think like why was Georgia even there in the first place? The performance was weird.
I
It
mean,
was disjointed. I'm not surprised it came
in
last.
the end, I mean, it was my 40th last place this year. I thought the chorus was nice and catchy, but overall, what came before it and after it was just a mess. And I mean, the
Yeah.
staging was okay, colorful and fun, but I mean, that was the only performance and song this year that I was like, after 30 seconds, I don't want to listen to it anymore. I don't. Where's my phone? I can't be bothered. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. So yeah, in the end, never gonna qualify, but yeah, I mean, near the bottom,
It was a non-event.
deserved
It
last
was a
place maybe.
non-event.
Yeah,
And I said the same thing about Montenegro, who I could have seen Montenegro qualify before I saw the performances because it was the only Balkan ballad of the
kinda.
year. But
Yeah.
you know, it got its stereotypical televote. It came 14th, and you know, nothing groundbreaking, of course,
It
but
had jury potential.
higher, yeah, higher than what people thought. And still, I feel bad for them. What did you say about North Macedonia? Because I have no idea how that song came 11.
We said that she performed well vocally, and the juries might have rewarded it. And also, since there are a lot of
She
radio
came 10th,
hosts
right? She came
in the
10th in the
jury,
jury. Yeah.
yeah, and since there are many radio hosts among the jury, they probably thought, "Oh, this is something that we could play."
Yeah. I want to change stations. I don't get it. I don't
I
get it. This
like
was
Macedonia's song. It was
to me.
cheaply.
To me, it's a
She recorded it with
non-event.
a
I'm
two
sorry.
thousand euros budget. She did all she could, really.
Yeah, but that's not my
I
fault. I
mean,
don't
yeah.
understand how it
But
came
now
so
that
high.
we are all here, we can finally talk about
About the
Sean
train wreck.
Malta.
Okay, so listen. 16th place is not good, of course. But
Spot on
here's
three.
here's my thought. Here's my thought. There is so much debate in Malta right now about Eurovision. You have no idea. I've never seen so many headlines about Eurovision, and this might surprise you. But people are. I've never seen so much consensus, but people are angry at PBS, and it's not even being unfortunately taken out on Emma. Like Emma's almost gotten away with it. It's all on PBS. The way the song was changed, the way last year they were found to manipulate the betting gods, and then this year they were giving free accommodation and free trips to all the countries in the opening ceremony. All of this crap. And there is this guy who represented Malta in 2004 called Ludwig Galia. He sang with a woman.
Oh, Ludwig.
And he is a blabbermouth. And I suspect that he knows someone from the delegation who knows all of the dirty secrets. And this person tells them to Ludwig because he knows he's a blabbermouth, and they will put them on Facebook. And he always does. And this year he chose to put a series of questions to say, to try to make people think about what the fuck is going on. And to cut a long story short, if we didn't qualify, I'm happy that we didn't do well so that PBS would get the hint. I'm not sure if they will, but something has to happen. This is probably either as bad of or worse than a result than Claudia Faniello. And it's shameful, bearing in mind how much money we spent, because Claudia Faniello was just a year where we probably spent nothing. And it's shameful, and I really, really hope they get the hint. I feel bad for Emma, which is the only link in this that, she got to make an EP for all I care, but I feel bad for her. But I'm actually surprised because there were quite a few countries who gave us scores in the televote, which is good, but the jury didn't back us up at all. And I also think that 3 countries, which we always, make deals within the jury, had their votes suspended, and they were Romania, Azerbaijan, and San Marino. Tell me.
But Sean, first of all, I don't remember the label. It was Warner Music Italy is the one that paid for all the participation costs apart from the fee. So
How do you know
PBS, it was known that she will get selected purely because of this. Last year,
I don't
Television
know.
Malta wasted a lot of money on Destiny's promotion. They were on a tight budget this year, and that's why they partnered with a major Italian label with a huge budget.
Listen, there is no money problem here. I can assure you. They can waste all of that money every 6 months if they can. Trust me, there is no money problem. I don't think Warner Music was so involved in the budget. I don't think they would
a
spend
partnership with a major label.
Yeah,
they
but
do pay.
maybe they do pay, but I don't think they were that financially involved.
Mm-hmm. But apart from that, I think back of Malta Eurovision Song Contest. Were there any qualifiers there at all? I think maybe Nicola Zoppardi would have been the only one who could have scrapped into the final, and even then, that song would have been crucified by the juries.
I don't know if there were any qualifiers, but I voted for Emma, not for Emma, because I genuinely liked her the most, and I still think she was the deserving win. Like I said, this shouldn't be taken out on Emma, but the way, Malta Eurovision Song Contest in general was a non-event. You said it yourself. Were there any qualifiers?
A non-event, and yet it got the biggest.
Easily qualified.
No, I don't think so. Romania
would have had more chances.
Romania.
Than this.
It's a radio from the song.
Would have
Jury would have given more points to it, and the televoting would have loved it a lot more.
And a tempo song in Maltese. But you know what? Aidan is going to represent Malta next year, most likely, so we will see. And he'll probably bring a song in Maltese. He already followed Eurovision charts on Twitter, so he's ready to represent Malta. But seriously.
There's this thing in Malta that some singers feel like, even if they don't have the best song that year, they feel like it's their turn, He definitely feels like it's his turn.
Yeah, it probably is. He came close this year, and he was a fan favorite, so he's probably cooking up some songs. And about the failure in the jury vote, I told you before the second semifinal that it's such a up-in-your-face jury bait song that the juries might not be baited at all, and that happened. So I'm not really surprised.
But the vocals even weren't really there, especially in the beginning. It was really shaky, so not even vocally they could,
It
rate
was a bit
this that
shaky, but
highly.
listen. Juries don't. There is this huge misconception amongst the Eurovision fandom, and I really don't get behind it. That juries will reward vocal capability.
Yeah.
I really don't think it's the case. I'm not saying that they overlook vocal incapability, but having good vocals or having bad vocals doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily mean.
but definitely, I mean, if you look at the jury points, you don't see people that had terrible vocals up in the ranking. Austria got 6 points from the jury. I mean, Finland, who had very shaky vocals, ninth, but Cyprus
Yeah, but I
lost with
wouldn't
those
I
vocals,
wouldn't
not a
put I wouldn't put
surprise.
Malta in the same category as Austria, Cyprus, and Finland. I think she just had some shaky vocals in the beginning, and then she recovered really well. I would put Malta in the same category as Italy in terms of vocals. Definitely not as Austria. We're not talking about the same
Italy was
quality of
worse
vocals
even.
there.
Oh, we didn't talk
Yeah,
about Austria.
we didn't. But just
Well,
to
what
cap
is
it
there
off
to
Spain
talk
and
about? It was
Bulgaria.
vocally awful.
just to cap it off on Malta, I really hope, and there are Maltese fans watching these live streams these days. I really hope the Maltese people don't lose hope, because we have such a narrative in Malta. Why do we compete? Why do we waste money for it to
Malta
always,
almost won 3 times, and
yeah, but
3 times in the televote era, 100%
but
televote.
go and tell them. Go and tell them. I really
Like,
genuinely think that we first of all, the the thing we need to do in Malta is serve a local product. I don't want to see any Dino Medan-Hozic songs. I don't want to see any, Julie Linga. I don't want to see any of these songwriters under the name of Malta. I want to see Maltese songwriters. If anyone's curious, check out this festival. I think I told you like 6 times already. Check out this festival called Musica Musica. It is basically the Maltese Sanremo, which has nothing to do with Eurovision.
which month is it?
It already happened. I think it was in April. And
Yeah.
the music there is incredible. Check out some performances. They're all songs in Maltese, written by Maltese songwriters and lyricists. I will actually send you some links, because now you have to get into this. And if I had a radio interview last week, and we actually talked about this, and the host asked me, what do you think if we used Musica Musica as a selection process? I said, if the producers could assure us that Musica Musica would remain untouched, and it just so happens to be that the winner goes to Eurovision as an added reward, then I can get behind that idea, and we would slowly start to get some more representation. Because if we come 16th with a freaking Dino Medan-Hozic, songwriting camp song, that's one thing. But if we come 16th with a local product, I'm pretty sure the Maltese will start to get hopeful, and they will start to be backing for their own country. And that is the thing that the Maltese fans suffer from the most right now. There is no sense of direction. There is no lingering for Maltese people wanting Malta to do well. And that's a real shame. And hopefully this reset here will spur PBS to hire me, first of all. No, I'm kidding. Maybe I'm not. To do something. That's it for Malta. Georgia,
I think I wanted to show some praise for Chiara Siracusa because I think back of 2005, she was third in the running order. She came second in the televote and second to Greece, who was only 40 points ahead, and Greece can benefit from a lot of neighbor voting. So imagine Malta being later in the running order. She could have won 2005. And Angel is a song that I consider very Maltese, because that's completely in the Maltese people's taste. So if something like that can work, then that means that Malta can offer an international product worth of winning Eurovision easily. And that's why Maltese people shouldn't lose hope of any kind, because they're totally capable of making great music.
From your mouth to God's. Epics, any final thoughts on Malta?
On Malta, no. I mean, this year didn't qualify. Last year we were, in the contention for winning. So, I mean, you aren't doing that badly in the big picture. So just
it's
keep
just
on what you're doing.
It's just a reset here. We did mention Austria, and it's true, we didn't talk about it. Yeah, last in the jury vote. I think it's harsh, even though the vocals were not there. It's still a radio-friendly song. It's still a
With
very
those vocals, seriously, it's deserved.
last,
It is deserved. Yeah.
last.
The performance was awkward as well.
I don't know. Again,
She
I
was
was.
uncomfortable on the stage. She didn't really want to be there. It seemed like she wasn't comfortable. She sang off. It was, it hurt the ears listening to it. The song, yeah, it's good, but the performance, which is supposed to be the thing you're, ranking, was terrible in the end. I mean, I would listen to the studio version gladly,
Yeah.
but I cannot watch or listen the performance. What was going on with her hair? I mean, everything literally was wrong. Lumix was fine, no problems there. He was comfortable. He was having fun. Pia Maria.
Put your
I
hands up in
mean,
the air.
Yeah, no, that was really awkward. Like
that,
the
that was that
hype
was that
DJ
was always
thing. The hype DJ
that
thing.
was always coming and
We
happening.
saw-
But
I'm
We saw
pretty
it
sure
in
that
2008 with the Czech Republic. They came second to last in their
I'm
semifinal.
pretty
We didn't
sure
want to see it
Lumix-
again.
I'm pretty sure Lumix found a new follower on Instagram after the night of the semifinal, and his name is Rafal Official. Speaking of Pia Maria, yeah, I mean, context. This song was in my top 10, the studio version, but I was always the first one to say that
Same
if
here.
it is not
Same here.
performed well, it should not qualify. And I'm happy it didn't, so that Austria and any country, selecting their artists, yeah, song needs to be there, but also the singer needs to be able to sing live. Hello. And no amount of pre-recorded backing vocalists, live backing vocalists, whatever, can save it. If anything, this should be the textbook example of if your singer can't sing live, there is no amount of milk in all of the cows of the world that can milk this enough to save it. This should be the textbook example cemented in the Eurovision history books. However,
Amen.
last place in the jury vote, I still think is a bit harsh because the song was there. I still think it didn't deserve to qualify on those vocals, but dead last. I mean, in the first semi-final, we had terrible songs like Bulgaria, Slovenia.
No, Bulgaria was a good
But
performance.
they
Very
were,
strong.
yeah, it was a good performance. It was vocally really good. Slovenia was
Yeah,
vocally
yes.
good. I mean,
Yes, but you say
Austria was. If
it was a
we're
good song, it was a good vocal.
purely and
So-
only ranking the performance, the live performance, then it didn't deserve to get any points.
But we're not.
I'm not
We're
talking
just
about the
purely
song,
performing.
the studio version, just
It's a
live
song
performance.
contest. It should be a mix of everything, and that's why I don't think.
But
it deserves
if you
to come out.
can't sing the song, even if it's a great
You don't
song,
go to
even
the
if it's a
final.
winning song, then you don't
go
deserve
to
any
the
points.
final. But again, last, I think when we match everything, I still think that objectively with those vocals, it deserves to do better than Slovenia and Bulgaria. Again, this is my view, but it didn't do great with the televote either. For all that energy and that hype, it only came 11th. So perhaps there was nothing there. And like I said, I really hope that Austria and any country can look at this performance, at this train wreck, and say, we need people who can sing live.
Speaking of Bulgaria, that song has made it to the top 20 of my top. I really like it for some reason. Like, I watched the performance, it was executed amazingly, in my opinion. They suffered from having zero hype before the contest and from being hated a lot by Eurofans, but they can be proud of their output, honestly. And I'm glad that they were in last.
The staging was good,
Mhm.
vocals were there. I mean, the song is the only weak part here.
Yeah,
I mean, other than that, it was a good performance. So, totally agree with you.
and Slovenia in last. How about that?
Yes, Slovenia. I predicted.
I mean, I enjoy the song. I like the
last.
song, but
I did say Slovenia could come last, and I
problem-
understand why.
The thing is, I expected Slovenia to do much better in the televote, around 30 points at least, because they had a lot of fans, especially on Reddit, Everybody was talking about how endearing they are, and the song was doing actually pretty well commercially on Spotify before the results came out. So I thought to myself, "Ooh, this one probably won't be last," and I was really surprised to see that they came dead last with no double-digit scores in the end. Um, you can tell that they were very amateurish. I mean, they're an up and coming band, but I give it up to Slovenia for daring to send something from Emma Fresh.
Yeah, and they definitely should be ashamed of it. It was a good performance of it.
Mm-hmm.
Vocally decent. They were all, having fun. They were comfortable on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
and I really enjoyed the performance. Did it deserve to qualify? No, but it was a good performance, and they definitely can be proud of it. And I'm wishing all the best to LPS.
Mm-hmm.
I also wish all the best to LPS, but I disagree. I don't think it was a good song. I don't think it was a great performance. I don't
That's
think the vocals
taste.
were there. And yeah, it's taste.
I agree with you, Sean.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Sean, but they did the best that they could.
Why, of course, but I think that is why they came last. Because, we talked about Austria having a terrible performance, terrible vocals, but a good song. And then we talk about Slovenia, which had, the song wasn't there to begin with, the vocals weren't there much. I mean, they were better than Austria.
Guys,
he didn't miss the vocals.
Yeah, but there was, he didn't miss a note, but they weren't delivered by conviction.
Can we talk about?
I mean, it was not a difficult song to sing.
Yeah,
it's not his fault. He sang it well.
Same with Serbia, for instance. It's not a difficult song to sing, but I'm not going to compare both deliveries. There was so much more conviction. Vocals are not
those are polar opposite songs to begin with.
Yeah, but it's both. They are both flat songs, but the vocal performance is not.
Serbia isn't a flat song.
Beat is drum. It's very catchy. But Serbia is art.
Not a difficult song to sing.
Performance.
Listen, the point is, vocal performance is not just how you hit the notes. It's how you project, how your voice comes out. And Last Pizza Slice, as much as I like them, it's just him opening his mouth and noise coming out. And
but I mean, it suited the song and the style and the performance, the 60s vibe, perfectly. They didn't have, enormous staging. They just had a disco ball. It was stylish, and it was executed well for that song.
And do you guys think anyone from Intelligent Music Project was Albanian? Because they got 12 points from the Albanian televote, I just noticed. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Albania is also a popular destination for SIM card buying because they have such a small televoting pool between the televotes costing €1 and the small population. But still, that was surprising.
Yeah. Guys,
in the end, there was second last combined. So
I want to ask one final question before we round this out. We talked about the
results. We're already rounding this out. We didn't even discuss Poland, which, in my opinion, was a surprising.
The second semi is still undiscussed.
Do you wanna be here until midnight? Because I want to keep this live stream a bit short for people to watch it back. But I want to ask one question. What do you expect for next year after the results we got this year? Anyone can start.
Just another Eurovision Song Contest. Who knows what's gonna happen?
No, because for instance, last year, at least I thought that after last year's authenticity being rewarded, we would get more authentic songs. And yeah, certainly we got countries performing in their native languages and this and that. And this year, at least I feel like we went a little bit backwards in the authenticity and in the creativity line. And for instance, I don't know, from Cyprus, I can already expect another 10 years of El Diablos. So those are my...
You're right about creativity lacking this year.
Yeah, those are my expectations for next year.
I mean, but I think we might overanalyze the impact of the winning song a bit, because in the end, artists are competing for the place in Eurovision. They, write songs that they think are good and worthy of going to Eurovision or promoting themselves. And in the end, I mean, that's the beauty of it. We never know what's going to happen and how the Eurovision Song Contest is going to look like. So, I mean, we have a lot to look forward to. how the hosting country situation is going to pan out. And, in the end, in like 6-7 months, we're going to get first songs. So
That's true.
The thing this year has so many ballads, in my opinion, is because Arcade went viral on TikTok. So instead of trying to copy Måneskin, which, in my opinion, is hard to reproduce such charisma and such a good band, they went for something easier. So they tried to copy Arcade, hoping that they would also get their, hit ballad. And that's how I explain to myself the amount of slow songs this year. But
I mean, there weren't even like copies of Arcade. They were just
no, they were just inspired,
ballads.
to the success of what is basically the most streamed Eurovision song ever. And for next year, what do I expect? Don't really expect anything in particular. I hope that the vote will be fair this time. I mean, not influenced by external events which are out of our control. I hope that something gets done to improve the use of the juries in the contest. And also something gets done about the perpetrators of, this jury fiasco. And song-wise, I don't think we will get anything particularly innovative overall, due to the fact that this year second place was taken up and fourth place were taken up by ballads. Third place was taken up by an up-tempo song. So it will be a year just like the others. And if we get somebody sending something outstanding and unique, that will probably win.
Amen.
Like any other
Amen.
year.
Hmm?
Like
Yeah,
any
like
other
any
year.
Except 2022. I want to round out with this comment because I actually thought about it. Sean, are you coming to Exit Festival 10 July at the Fortress? Constructa will be there. I would love to. A friend of mine from here is going to Exit Festival and I might go with them. We'll see. Maybe I will see you in Serbia. I don't know. We'll see. Probably no, more no than yes, because I have to work. But I would love to see Constructa live. It would be my dream. I would make her sign every part of my body, and then I would sing Biti Zdrava to her in awe of her beautifully, secretly conditioned hair.
And she'll look at you
Guys.
like this.
Exactly. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on this live stream and all of the live streams we've had this year. Garrett, it's been a pleasure to have you when we did, and it's been nice because we thought we were not going to have you at all, but it's been nice to have you at least on some of them.
Yeah, and I'm happy
Talk to
that
you
in the end I
regular.
got to see all the shows, even though the semis I had to watch under the blankets with headphones and from the phone, but still I got to see the show.
Exactly. And Giorgio, thank you for being here almost, I think, on all of them, right?
No, all of them.
And
And thank you,
yeah.
Colin, for watching all of them as well.
exactly.
Vala.
Exactly. Vala. And I want to thank Rebecca, Justine, and Mikea who have been with us on these live streams. They're not here tonight, but they were here pretty much all week. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you did like my content this year, please subscribe on the channel below and like this live stream. And we will see you next year. I'm already excited for next year. God knows where we're gonna go, but hey, some sleep will do us good, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey ho, let's go.